watching One Gotti Talking Sports.
No, because the truth of the matter is it's not important to me. Okay, what's important to me is the guys in the room, and that's something I've been trying to establish. You know, I'm trying to get beyond all this stuff that's on the outside that's noise as far as I'm concerned. What I'm focusing on is the development of this football team. There's a group of young men in there that deserve better, okay, in terms of they should be acknowledged for what they've done, what they're doing. I don't want to get talking about something that I can't control anyways. I have no input. I have nothing to do with that. What I want to do is everything in that room. And that's what I wish we could just stay focused on. And it's difficult, it's hard, but for whatever reason, we're going to stick to what's interesting, and that's playing football for our guys.
Ron, you sound more fired up about, you've given similar answers in the past about this, but you seem more fired up now. Is it just something about the circumstances?
No, what's important is these guys, okay? For the last couple of weeks, honestly, I'm going to speak my mind for a second. Honestly, it's been hard. It really has. You lose 4 games in a row, and everybody wants to get you, just get on you. And they've played their asses off. They have. They played their asses off for everybody. They come out and they show up. They work hard, all right? They don't complain, okay? They hear all this stuff, and they got to deal with it. I get that, and I respect them for that because they're resilient. They come back. Everybody keeps wanting to say, I didn't want anything to do with Carson. Well, I'm the guy that pulled out the sheets of paper, that looked at the analytics, that watched the tape in the when we were at Indianapolis, okay? And that's what pisses me off. Because the young man doesn't deserve to have that all the time. I'm sorry, I'm done.
YouTube, what's going on? It's One Gotti here. We got another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, I'm coming on here with the video where we're going to be talking about Ron Rivera absolutely going crazy in the post-game conference from yesterday's game, recap a little bit of the game, and just give my opinion on the overall situation that's happening with Ron Rivera and Dan Snyder. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, or in this case, our Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Let's get straight into today's video. So the Washington Commanders yesterday got a win in Chicago, 12-7, and to a lot of people's vision and people that watched that game, we clearly saw that yes, Washington won, but one, it was a horrible game to watch from an NFL fan standpoint, and two, we still stink offensively. Yes, at the end of the day, happy we finally got a win, but you didn't come away from that game happy. It kind of felt like we lost, but we won, okay? And all of the pre-game stuff that came out about the Dan Snyder situation, about how he hired private investigators to get, dirt on Roger Goodell and all the other ones, we already know that whole situation, right? All that pre-stuff that came into it, then the Carson Wentz comments that he had a couple days ago. Ron, you can't backtrack that, okay? As much as he tries to backtrack that, and I'm with Travis Kelce. If you guys don't know the New Heights podcast with Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce, give it a watch. I may insert the clip here.
Ron Rivera criticizing his own quarterback.
What are we doing, man? Come on, coach.
Rivera was asked, why do you think the teams in the division are further ahead at this point? He answered, quarterback.
Such a bad take, man. A lot of respect for him too, but you can't say this, especially, considering where his defense is ranked.
Yeah.
Considering that you're the head coach of this team. You cannot just point at one position, one guy, and say that's the reason.
And I think he realized it. He issued an apology. He said he actually talked to Carson this morning. In fact, I talked to the whole team.
Already said it. Doesn't matter.
What?
He already said it.
Oh, you're saying the apology doesn't work?
No, that shit doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yeah.
As a player, you could accept that apology. When he said it like it had been on his heart and his mind for a while now.
But Travis Kelce basically said, come on, coach, you can't backtrack what you said, okay? I don't care that you tried to apologize to Carson. And Carson's going to take the approach of, oh, yeah, man, coach spoke with me. It's fine. It's cool. It really didn't get to me. Come on, man. We're human. Carson, we already know how he is mentally. That got to him. He felt some type of way about it. I don't care if he tries to publicly show no emotion towards it or shows like that got to him. You know what I'm saying? And Ron Rivera was wrong for saying that. I know a lot of people want to say his words got misconstrued. You still don't need to say that, okay? You don't need to say it's just the quarterback when these teams are winning. That's how he truly felt. Okay. And a lot of people, after reading yesterday's article that came out about Dan Snyder, a lot of people made the assumption that Ron Rivera really did not want Carson Wentz. He wanted other people, other quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo. But the reason why we did get Carson Wentz is because Dan Snyder wanted to get him, and this is his team, so he's going to get whatever he wants. And a lot of people were saying this is the second time in this tenure, or second time in about 5 years, that Dan Snyder has put his hands in the pot of the scouting area, the coaching, and said, "Oh, we're just going to draft, or we're going to take this guy with the quarterback position." In 2019, he did the same thing with Dwayne Haskins. May God rest his soul. Nobody wanted Dwayne Haskins in that building, but Dan Snyder said we were going to get him. He's the owner. What you're going to do? You're going to get what the owner says. And then this offseason, he wanted Carson Wentz, so he got Carson Wentz. That's what a lot of people are starting to think. But no, Ron Rivera got up there post-game, and he got mad. You know what I'm saying? No, Washington didn't play a good game. Okay, so that probably played a factor in it. But he got up there and he was pretty pissed about this whole situation. He said, "I'm the guy that wanted Carson Wentz. I'm the guy that read the article, or not the article, but read the analytics and looked at the film from Indianapolis, and he's the guy that wanted Carson Wentz." How do I personally feel about that? I mean, I'm happy he's finally showing some type of emotion towards this game and this team. But how do I personally feel about that? I don't have a definitive answer. Like, part of me wants to say I believe that Dan Snyder wanted Carson Wentz, so we got him. But then part of me also wants to believe that Ron Rivera really wanted Carson Wentz. But given this team history, I got to lean more towards Dan Snyder wanted Carson Wentz and Ron Rivera wanted Jimmy Garoppolo. He didn't really want Wentz, but he had to go with Wentz because he's like, "One, let me give this a shot." And Dan Snyder said so. This is his team. Okay? I don't know what to believe. At the end of the day, Washington fans are the fans that are hurting the most because we continue to get put in this situation. Dan Snyder is not being forced to sell. And now with him hiring private investigators to bring up dirt against Jerry Jones, against Roger Goodell, and all the other owners, this is going to make it worse. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want that stuff to get leaked out about Jerry Jones and about Roger Goodell. Although we know a lot about Jerry Jones and stuff like that, they don't want more to get leaked out about these guys. So they're gonna back with Dan Snyder more likely than not, and then Dan Snyder is not going to be able to force to sell. Dan Snyder is going to be just fine. Okay, that's how I personally look at it, and I hate it because the guy he needs to go. You know what I'm saying? He's the worst owner in sports, and he needs to be forced to sell. But I just feel like there's not going to. They're going to have an owners meeting, a league meeting coming up here shortly. And Washington is not. I believe they're saying they're not on the agenda to address the Dan Snyder situation. But now they're probably going to talk about it. But nothing ultimately is going to happen. Dan Snyder was at the game last night, and he looked crazy. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was just woke up, didn't even do nothing. Someone in the chat said he looked like I forgot what they said he looked like, but they said he looked crazy right now. And you could tell that the stuff is starting to get to him, man. You know what I'm saying? But honestly speaking, Ron Rivera, he was pissed off about it, and as he should be. You know what I'm saying? Because if he genuinely wanted Wentz, as no one really know what happened, but if he genuinely wanted Carson Wentz, and this is the feedback that he's getting from this, then that sucks. That has to hurt. You know what I'm saying? But if he's doing this because he wants to make it seem like he wanted Wentz and he did not want, and Wentz doesn't deserve this, but he deep down inside really didn't want Wentz, but he's trying to go out there and protect his players because he want to put on that stunt that I got these players' backs, then that's another story for in itself. But it's just crazy how that same week that now Carson Wentz is trying to get, or Ron Rivera is trying to back up Carson Wentz and his team, 2 days prior to the same week, you said some comments that you shouldn't have said. Okay, so it's kind of tricky. It's weird because it's like, man, I don't know what to believe at this point. But Washington, they're making headlines as usual about Dan Snyder, and it's gonna constantly happen until this guy's forced to sell. But he isn't going down without a fight. Dan Snyder's trying to pull off everything he can to make sure that he does not get forced to sell. And at this current juncture, I don't think he's going to. I really don't. But we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted as always about that whole situation. But I don't think Dan Snyder's gonna be forced to sell. Washington, again, coming off a victory versus the Bears, where offensively they still look bad. We got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of injuries to heal up. Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. I don't know the status of Derek Force, but he did get banged up too, and Carson Wentz also. A lot of injuries last night. But hopefully this could be a kickstart to something, good and something that is going to lead to a win streak leading up here. But only time will tell, obviously. And Washington has 10 days to rest to get ready for the Green Bay Packers. We'll have a stress-free Sunday because we can watch football and not worry about our Washington Commanders playing and/or giving us stress. We can enjoy the marquee matchups this week: Bears Chiefs or Bills Chiefs. Giants, Ravens, and that's going to be a solid game. Cowboys, Eagles, on the nightcap. You got a lot of good football this weekend, so I want you guys to enjoy that. And stay tuned for my weekly picks. I should have done it yesterday, but didn't have time to, because all the news about William Jackson, requesting a trade and then trying to get ready for the game, and then the Dan Snyder stuff came out late too. It was a lot, man, and it's always something. You know what I'm saying? Scott Van Pelt put it here perfectly. If you're not a fan of this team, if you're not from this area, if you haven't been all old school fan, you wouldn't know the good days. It hits those people the hardest, because it's like, you go from Jack Kent Cook, you go from Joe Gibbs being in 4 Super Bowls in 10 years and winning 3 of them, to now this. And they're like, if you tell my young self, this is what Scott Van Pelt said, verbatim, if you tell his young self, being from this area, that in a million years Washington will be at this point now, he would not have believed it. Because this team was a dynasty. This was a once proud franchise that would go out there and give this team to something to root for. This fan base has been torn down because of Dan Snyder. Okay, guys, I understand. You see the stadium now. You see how it was, but this town was once a proud fan base. This was a fan base that you couldn't come into RFK if you were opposing team. You know what I'm saying? This was a team that back then they had waiting lists for season tickets, because this team had something to play for. This team gave us something to cheer for. This team was a proud franchise, man. And just to see how it is now, to see that it's got torn down to where it is and we're at an all-time low, it's very frustrating, especially for me, because I've never experienced nothing good for this team. I understand a lot of you older fans out there, you've got to experience it. So you got some type of happiness with this team, but you obviously still want to see that again. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to lean on something that would happen over 30 years ago, but at least you got that. But you don't want to lean on that. Me, I haven't got any of that. All I've known is Dan Snyder, and all I've known is mediocre, poor football, off the field issues with Dan Snyder, and I really want to change, but it's not going to happen. Dan Snyder's 56 years old. The guy's going to be the owner until I'm 40. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see no way he sells. I don't have him selling this team. I pray each and every day that he does, but right now I don't see it happening. Ron Rivera, for the 3rd straight year, and it's going to happen all throughout his tenure that Dan Snyder's here. He has to get up and face questions about that stuff. All he wants to do is worry about football. I'm not defending Ron Rivera in the sense of saying he's a good coach, but I'm saying I feel for the guy in the sense of, I just want to worry about football. I can't control what's going on with Daniel Snyder and what's going on if I don't have my hand in that. I may have all control of football operations, but that side, I have nothing to worry. I have nothing. You know what I'm saying? And this press and these media's personnel, and I'm not mad at the media really, because they're getting up there doing their job, trying to find a story. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're doing their job, okay? But the media gets up there and try to ask Ron Rivera about Dan Snyder questions. He's not Dan Snyder. He has nothing to do with that. It would be one thing. Okay, and this is the last thing I'll say before I get out of here. It'll be one thing if the media was interviewing Jason Wright. Jason Wright, it's literally by Dan Snyder every day. You know what I'm saying? He talks to Dan Snyder. It'll be different if it was that. Okay, it's not that. It's Ron Rivera, the head coach, and yes, I'm sure Ron knows stuff and he talks to Dan here and there, but at the end of the day, he is the football coach. He is in charge of putting what's on the field on display. He's in charge of putting his team, getting his team ready to compete each and every weekend. And he hasn't done a good job of that, don't get me wrong, but that's his job, and that's what he has to do. He has nothing to do with the Dan Snyder situation, okay? And I feel for him in that sense. And other stuff, maybe not so much like the Carson Wentz situation. You were wrong in that sense. But in this situation, I definitely agree with you. I definitely back you, and I definitely feel for Ron Rivera on that. But this is my whole spill on that. three things that we tackle here. The Ron Rivera burst out in the press conference, the Washington Commanders getting a victory, and then the Dan Snyder stuff. So you got three things to comment down below in the comment section about how do you feel about this situation and everything that was handled. As always, it's me, boy, Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Help to Washington Commanders. On the road to 5,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm out. Peace. Cross me one time, that's gonna get you pop, get you driving.